In the previous lesson, what we did is we took one page and made 4 pages in total, all with a unique design. So if we take a look at those pages, here is the home page. Looks pretty good. Menu page looks different. Location page, contact page. Each page looks different. But as we go to all these pages, at least I'm starting to notice that the page is pretty darn static. And what I want to do is I want to add some more life to this page. And how I'm going to add life to this page is by using Flash content. So if you're unfamiliar with Flash content, I just encourage you to go to the Adobe website and just search for Adobe Flash Player. And on that page you can find various examples, because in this case I'm going to just go ahead and add some basic animation, but you can really make some rich interactive experiences with Flash. So again, I encourage you to go ahead and use Adobe's website to find out more information, and there are various tools that make Flash content. I'm going to be using Flash Professional CS5, so you can go ahead and download the trial if you want to. I also would encourage you to go ahead and check out Training with Tranny, where I have a whole series on Adobe TV about using Flash. Okay, because again, that's what I'm going to use for this website here. What I want to do is I want to replace this image right up here at the top with a Flash file. And to be more specific, I'm going to make a SWF file. It actually means small web format. And again, it's nice that it's going to be small and it's going to really bring this page to life. So again, that's the goal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and minimize Safari, and in the Assets folder you'll notice there's a Flash folder as well. So in here there are multiple FLA files. These are the source files, Flash Professional CS5 files. And what this file does is it actually makes these SWF files, these small web format files. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this index FLA. I'll just double click it. And again, this isn't a Flash tutorial, but notice that it just has some basic animation. And I'll just sort of do a click and drag up here in this timeline marker right here, and you can see it's just a simple animation that's going to happen. And that's all I want. I don't want anything too distracting. But again, I've created this from Flash. I've created this file, and what I need to do is just publish it out. So I'm going to go to File, Publish, and it creates, from there, it creates an SWF. If you're curious about the various publish settings, I can go to File, Publish Settings, and notice that this checkbox is checked. This is obviously going to make an SWF file named the same thing as the current file. Alright, so I'll just hit Cancel. And again, I have 4 FLA files, and from those 4 FLA files, I was able to generate 4 different SWF files. And again, they're already made. They're all right in here. And I'll just hold down the Command key on a Mac or Control key if you're on a PC. But I'm just going to go ahead and select all of these files because I want to use all of these animations in my current site. So with them all selected, I'm going to go to Edit, copy those 4 items, select my site, and all I'm going to do is put them in the Images folder. I just want to have one folder for most of my content. I could right click or control click and paste items that way. These are the SWF files that I want to use. Okay, these are the 4. Alright, starting with the index page, that's where I want to put the first SWF file. So I'm going to go ahead and launch Dreamweaver. And using my Files panel, I'm just going to go ahead and double click on the index HTML page. And again, right here, this is what I want to replace with an SWF file. So I'll just click on it to select it. So just click on that image and go to Insert and go down to Media. I'll scroll over and I'm going to select SWF. Okay, it should default to your images folder that's in your My Site folder. Okay, so just make sure your images are there, and this is where I just moved them. So I'll select Index SWF, select that file, click Choose, You can give it sort of a specific name, and again, this helps screen readers in case the person can't see the image for whatever reason, or has a screen reader that will actually read all the content on the page. It will actually read this title. So a good practice is to just enter in any information that would pertain to the SWF file. In this case, this is going to be the name of the restaurant. Select OK. And it puts that SWF file right down here, just as a gray box, and that's fine. But this is actually what's going to be displayed as this SWF currently below this image here. All right, now I don't want to necessarily delete this image because the one thing you need to know about Flash content is you need the Flash player to see this Flash content. You need to make sure you have the Flash player installed, and then you can see anything that is an SWF file. So there are some devices, for instance, that might not have the Flash player, in which case you need to account for those scenarios. Okay, so I don't want to remove this image yet. I want to actually put that as my alternate content in case the user doesn't have the Flash player. And again, if you go to Adobe's website, it will give you all the statistics on how many people do have the Flash player, which honestly it's above 95%. All right, here's my backup image, if you will. Here's my SWF file. And if we take a closer look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into split view. So I'm going to select split. And with this SWF file selected, I'll just move this over some. Here's the embed code for that SWF file. And again, I didn't have to write this code. It's nice that it's already there for me. But just beneath that code, actually right in here, this last part right here, within this last div right here, this content is what will be displayed if the user doesn't have Flash. So by default, it will say, hey, content on this page requires a newer version of the Flash player or a Flash player in general, and it gives you a link. So even if they don't have the Flash player, they can upgrade if they want and install that Flash player. But again, what I want to do is I want to put a reference to that image right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on this image. So just select that image and it will locate it right up here at the top. You can see this href image source. It's pointing to that index PNG file. So I want to just select this code right here, okay? And I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to cut it, okay? So I'm going to move it from up there and I want to paste it back down between these two div tags. So the opening and the closing, I can add it to it or I can just replace all this content. And I'm just going to replace it also. I'll just select all that content. I'll click delete, just hit return, and right here on sort of its own line, I'll hit return a couple times and go to edit, paste. All right, there's the reference to the image, and again, this is my backup image. I can do whatever I want in here, have additional content, but I'd say that's pretty good. Let's click back to design mode, and you can see that image is replaced. Here's my SWF file. All right, let's go ahead and check this out in action. So I'm going to go ahead and save this page. So I'll select save, and when you save the page, it gives you this note that it's going to include 2 other files that are in this scripts folder. These files are needed because they help display this SWF file. So again, I just need to make sure that those files are there if I want to, but more importantly, don't be surprised if a scripts folder suddenly appears. Just click OK. And off to the side, in my files panel, there's my scripts folder. So that's what it added. I'll go to File, Preview in Browser, and I'm going to go ahead and preview this in Firefox this time. There it is. Looks good. It doesn't look bad. Honestly, I'm not crazy about that white back there. Okay, I actually want to make one little tweak really fast, and then we'll get into the alternate content. Because quite frankly, that white just isn't working for me. And the cool thing about Flash files is I can go ahead and take an SWF file and I can have parts of it be transparent. Because again, I want to see that background back there. So I'll close that browser window. I'll select this SWF file, and if you select that SWF file right down here in the Properties panel, it will give you various properties for it. And what I want to do is I want to change the window mode, the W mode. Currently it's opaque. Well, at this point, I want to go ahead and select transparent, just to move that up a little bit. Transparent is what I want to select. All right. Now let's go to File, Preview in Browser. I'm going to preview it in Firefox. It'll ask me to save it again, and that's much better. Again, just brings that page to life. This makes it a little more sexy. I'm really liking how it's coming together now. And again, it plays just fine because I happen to have the Flash Player installed. Now, for those who don't have the Flash Player, let's go ahead and simulate that. And what I have installed for Firefox, it's actually a Firefox extension. It's called Flash Switcher. So just do a search, in Google or wherever. And if you have Firefox, whether you have Mac or PC, you can access this Flash Switcher. Because what I want to do is I want to go ahead and uninstall the Flash Player right now. And again, it just helps me test out this page so I can see what the content is going to look like if they do not have the Flash Player. So sure enough, this says the Flash Player is removed. Click OK, and there's the static image. That's perfect. It's not disruptive at all. If they don't have the Flash Player, they still get a nice experience. It just doesn't necessarily bring the page to life. All right, that looks great. I think that looks really sharp. The next step is going to be adding this to all the other pages. So let me just close that browser, jump back in here. And if I go to Split View, notice with this SWF file selected, it actually selects all this code as well. And this is going to be a little quicker for me if I just copy all of this code from page to page. So I'll click back on Design View. With this file selected, I'll do Edit, Copy. I'll go to the menu page and I'll double click on that menu HTML. I'll select this image at the top. I'll do an Edit, Paste, and it replaces that image with that Flash file. Now remember, that Flash file is actually the home page Flash file, so I do need to change it. So I'll go to Code View just so we can take a better look at it. I can see all of the code right in here. Now I could come down in here and change some of this code this way, or another thing I can do is I can go back to Design View with this Flash file selected, using the Properties panel. I can click this folder icon, and I can just go ahead and change this from the index SWF, which is currently in there. I can change it to the menu SWF. I'll click Choose, and then it swaps it out. So let's go back to Code View. As I scroll down, this is where it used to say index SWF, now it says menu SWF. So you can change it in Code View, but you would have to change it in a couple different places because there's a couple different references for the different browsers. Okay, let's scroll on down. Right here for this index PNG, for this alternate content, I want to go ahead and have this point to a different image. So if I go to my images folder and I just open that up and kind of scroll down, I actually need that menu PNG, so I'm just going to use the Files panel as a reference. Come back in here and I'm just going to type in menu, just like that. I'd say that's good to go. Looks good. I can actually give it some alt information as well. Let's type in menu and then I'll save that page. All right, let's just do this a couple more times to these other pages. I'll double click on the location HTML. I'll go to Design View and again select that image. This is the image I want to replace. And I'll do an Edit, Paste. And again, remember, I actually still had it copied from before, so it actually pastes in that SWF on this new page, and then I can just change the reference. If I just double click, I can change that reference from what is currently the index SWF, as it says right down here. Change it to location, since we're on that page. Click Choose. that looks good. Let's take care of that alternate content. So I'm going to go to Code View, scroll down, make sure we have the correct alternate or backup image, which is called location. And I'm just going to make sure it exists in this folder. It's very important to make sure it exists. And there it is, location ping. Save this page. Let's go ahead and do this one more time to our contact page. So I'll double click on the contact HTML, go back to design view. Again, by selecting this image, you can just paste in that new SWF file and then change that reference. I can just double click on it, change that reference to SWF. Again, the last step is by going to Code View, scrolling down, and changing the reference to that alternate image. And I can always go through and change the alt word. And again, this word will appear when you roll over the image. Your cursor, what will appear is the name right here, this alt text. Okay, I'll save this page. And this is, again, the fun part. I'm going to preview it in a browser. And what I'm going to do is preview it in Firefox. There, again, is the alternate image. Everything looks good when I go from page to page. But again, I'm going to use that Firefox Flash switcher, and I'm going to go ahead and install a newer version of the Flash player. So I'm going to select one of those. It'll close down Firefox and open up again. And again, this is the experience that I'd get if the user has the Flash player. And again, a little bit of animation. Let's just refresh that page. Little bit of animation looks great. Go to the location page. Just a simple slide in the menu page. Looks something like that. And then the home page. Again, I've just inserted some pretty simple Flash content using Flash Professional. I encourage you to go to Adobe's website to find out more about the Flash player. Go to Adobe TV and check out Training with Tranny, where I kind of show how to make these sort of things. But the most important thing is I want to be able to bring pages to life with animation and interactivity using the Flash player and Flash content. Just remember, you do need to add that alternate content in case they don't have the Flash player. So really the next step is to go even further with these pages and add some additional media to really bring the menu and location pages to life, which will happen in the next lesson.